Okay, guys, I want to welcome us back to the training. Today is the day 7th, which is officially our last day of this training, and I'm super excited. It was actually an amazing journey. It was actually amazing, fun, challenging. Sometimes you even feel like, oh man, I really want to give up on this thing. Like a big welcome back to today. And then basically today, there's going to be no PowerPoint presentation. It's strictly hands-on, right? I didn't practice. Basically, we're going to be working with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript all together, right? So I'm actually super excited, but it's just a very small project we intended to do, right? So I said we're going to just design a basic registration form. I think that form should introduce us to a lot of components. So a lot of sorry, I didn't component, a lot of elements, tags out there, right? And then so let's get started. So first, what do you guys think? Can we work with this one? Hello guys, are you there? Should we work with this one?
Yes, we can.
Okay, this one. All right. Okay, this is fine. Let me open it and see. Okay, this is the design. Great. It's quite busy. But anyway, we'll work with this. All right, let me split my screen. You can see it here, right? So let me maybe sorry, I had to mute you. I was hearing your background. Okay, yeah, this is the one I said we're going to work with this. This looks a bit better, right? All right, so I'll open my VS Code. VS Code. Let me open. I click on this guy. VS Code. Loads up. Okay. Sorry, ignore all of this. This was the job I was doing. Let me close this guy. Close. Let me open it as a new tab. VS Code. New window, rather. New window. Let me split the screen. Right. So can you see this design here? Okay. Yeah. If for me, let's say maybe I'm working on something like actually I have a second screen, right? That I can display this on my second screen and be looking at them using one of my screens to actually work, right? That's if my typical work scenario, right? I have a second screen, I can project that one and then be using it, right? But we have just one screen in this case. So all right, so open folder. I'm going to be opening the folder we've been working with. It's on the desktop, ICTs or it's training. So this is the folder, we select it. And then it loads up. If you open, check here, this is the folder, right? So now we're going to add another folder and we're going to call this one D_7. So these are the 7. We are doing all our magic inside. So inside of this folder, you see this folder is highlighted now. I can come here and click on this new file. So I'll have my index.html is right there. So still here, highlight this guy, come back here. Now I need my CSS files. I'm calling it styles.css. You can give it any name you want, right? It's just then this same folder, highlighted, create a new file. I want to call this me.js, right? So I have my 3 files now, HTML file, CSS file, JavaScript. So let's go to the HTML, generate the boilerplate. So I have this guy now, right? So I can change that title there from, by default, it gives you this document as the title, right? So I need to change it to registration form, registration form and title. Now I need to connect these 2 files. to this guy. So now let me put a comment here. This is my external CSS, external 1L. So remember to add your CSS, you need to use the script, right? Then inside this href, this is where you specify the link. I can put a dot / and then show me all the items. I select it. So mind you, everything I'm doing now is inside the head, right? So I can also, let me put another comment and call this my external JavaScript. So remember, for this guy, you're using script. Use this guy, put a dot / main.js added. So I've successfully added these two files. But now I don't want to encounter any error going forward. So I can put this async. This async means, look, it should be working. I think I explained this in our session yesterday, because remember our code runs from top to bottom, from line 1, right? When you run line 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, encountering line 12, where the script is, it leaves this page and run this file. So at that point, down part of this code is still processing, but now it will start throwing error that you can't find some things, right? But this async simply means when you encounter this file, work with them side by side. That's process them asynchronously. Asynchronous means simultaneously, right? Simultaneously or side by side. That's just in basic terms. So now I've successfully connected these two files. So the next thing is to go live, right? So click on go live. Go live. Let me not use this particular one. Already is running. I would have used this one here. Yeah, but anyone works, right? Anyone works. But this just take time sometimes to go live. That's why I would have preferred to use this. Okay, yeah, this other one has started, this guy here. So what will then happen? Okay, 2 of them has gone live at the same time. So I need to close this one and then use this one. Just shut this one. To avoid complications, let's just use this basic one, right? Yep, I think this is it. This is it. So if I hover over this guy now, okay, this title now, you can see registration form. Great. All right, so let me check to confirm if this was successfully connected. So I could do, let me just target the body element. I can give it a background color of black. Let me see. Great, change to black. It means my CSS is properly connected, right? So I can give do something like asterisk and then body. This simply means asterisk means all the elements and then body. So I want to do something called border box. Border box. Where are you? Sorry, box sizing. Sorry, it's box sizing to give it a border box. Why am I doing this? I think Pearls explained why you do that, but let me still show you here. Let me see. I type H1 here, call it hello. You can see there's space on top and then side here, but I don't want to have this default spacing. That's why I'm doing this. But border sizing, then I can do something like everything should have a margin of 0. You can see now it has gone to the top. And then I don't want some sort of default. You know, the browser usually gives some default design. So like I'm trying to override those default. It gives some sort of default margin. Now I can see these two, right? Let's say maybe I comment these two guys out. Shift Alt A. I save this, you can see, right? But I don't want to have that behavior. That's why I now give it this margin 0. That's remove any. That's all for everything and the body. Remove that, those default browser margin and padding. That's why we did this here, right? Okay, so our design, where's our design again? Yeah, this is our design. Wait. So if you look at our design here, let me write on our design annotate. So let me write, okay, this is a box. So this could be like a div, the entire box now, a div, right? So I can come here, this yellow line, that's like a div. So that I'm saying, okay, that's a div. Everything now is going to be inside this box div, right? So inside this div, I want to have a H1 here that have this responsive registration form. So I could have, okay, inside that div, I have a H1 with response. Sorry, please give me a minute. Fine, let me call you back. I did for myself. All right, sorry guys. So we could have responsive registration form, right? So this like our H1 to have this guy. So after the H1, I have this, and then this, and this. So once I even design one of these, I can just use it for this too, right? So it means, let me have a div, and remember a div is more like a bag, right? Then I want to have a span. This span to hold this icon here, and then I can have an input tag of type text here, right? Okay. So there's a word inside. Let me show you what we currently have. Let me show you what we currently have. There's something on my screen. Okay, yeah, better. Okay. Right, so this is what we currently have, this field here. You can see it, right? And then this is the H1. But if you look at this, also remember that all of these are inside. There's a background here, some sort of background color here that let me see if I can fetch that color. I have this extension installed on my browser called Color Picker Eyedropper. So if I click on it, and then I can pick this color. If I select, this is the background color, F2, F2, F2. That's the color, right? So I can come to this, my style here, and call body, and give body a background color of hash F2, F2, F2. So this is the background color now, right? That's this background color you're seeing here. This particular container has a background color itself of white. That's this div now, this major div. So we can give this div maybe a class, right? We can give it a class and call it main underscore, or we could just even call it container, right? Container. So this container, can copy this guy and then come back here, and then it's a class, so we begin with dot container, right? Then I'll give it a background color of it's a white background color. And then this white, if I want to use the hexadecimal format, it's FFFFF. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's actually 6, right? But you can even use 3. 1, 2, 3. It's fine. All right. So this is white background, white, pure white, right? So we have a white for this guy. And then it has some sort of width. I don't really know what the width is here, right? But most times, if maybe you have this designed by a UI UX guy, you can actually fetch the width from there, right? But let's just assume that it has a width of let's just say 450 450 pixels. If it's too small, we'll come back and adjust. And then it has a height. Let's give it a height of, let's say, 600 pixels. If it's too much, you can still come back and adjust that. So we have given this main container now a height and a width. Let's see what we have at the moment. So this, let me open it full. Yeah, this is it here, right? But now let's position it in the center, right? Let's position it in the center. Oh, sorry, this is not our main container. Yes, this is our main container. This is our main container, right? So now let's position that guy in the center. To position this guy in the center, it means we're going to style this. Sorry, we're going to style this body. So inside the body, we can give it a display of flex. We can do something like justify content to the center. Now, see, if you notice, it has moved to the center. Let me reduce this guy. You can see it's now in the center. Let me open it full so you can see. You can see, right, it's now in the center. All right. Just reduce this height. I think that height is too much. 550 pixels. Let's do 550. So this is 550. But now you discover that this guy is still, it's kind of touching the top. I want it to be positioned in the middle of this screen. So from that, now I will now use another property called align items. Then I want to put it in the center. Okay, display flex. Let me see. Yeah. Specify contents. Okay, align items. All right. Great. And okay. So then let's give this our body. Let's say we are giving this our body a height of 100%. 100%. We don't even necessarily need this, right? But yeah, let's just drop it off. We'll come back to that guy. Don't worry. So drop this guy down a bit. So where is our design? Okay, yeah. So we have this background color and then this white space here now, right? This background and then this white space. This white space. Okay. Okay. So we have this H1 as well. So for the H1, let's call the H1 also and style it H1. So what do we have for the H1? See how its position is kind of touching the wall and all that. But if you come back to this guy, you see there's some sort of space top here, right? So that's called a padding, right? So we can give a padding of, let's say 10 pixels, right? 10 pixels. Let's check. You now see there's some sort of space on top. But if it's too small, we can come back. Where did you keep the padding here? 20 pixels. It's fine. Let's check what we have. So now you can notice that there are some spaces here now, right? Then this is now dropping here. But we want this thing to be positioned in the center. So our H2 can come back and say, okay, text align to the center, right? So this is text aligned to the center. You now notice that it is this way now. You now have that guy to the center, right? Okay. Okay. All right. So then this guy here now, that's what we're working on. So we need this image icon and then here. So back to our HTML, inside the input field, which is the input field that's here, we can give it something called a placeholder and then right inside email, right? So we have email now. So we can even give this guy a class of let's just call it email, right? Let's just call it email. We'll come back to this guy here, give it dot email. That's that particular input field now. We want to give it a padding of 5 pixels. Is 5 pixels okay? Yes, 5 pixels okay. You can give it a width of, let's say, 90% of our screen. So this is it. But this is kind of touching this place, right? So we can give this guy now a margin in the bottom, margin bottom. That's we want to push this guy down a bit. So we can give it margin bottom of, let's say, 20 pixels. Would this be too much? It's not too much, right? Okay. All right, so we have this guy positioned here. Let's see how it's looking. Okay. All right. So our borders, we can also adjust it. We can give it a border of 1 pixel solid and a gray color. This guy. We can also give it an outline of none. So what's outline? See, when I click here, let me comment this part. If I click here, you notice there's some sort of tick line appearing. I don't want to have that tick line when somebody is here, right? So to get rid of it, that's where I make use of this outline none. So if I click again, you see I'm typing, but you can't see that, right? All right, so that basically, that's right. So now we have this guy. So the span, we need that image icon. So that it's either you can download that image icon or make use of some tools out there, or some third-party icon providers. There's one called Font Awesome. Font Awesome, you can see font. Let me just close this tab and open it again. Okay. This thing on my screen should be okay, great. Okay, this Font Awesome, right? Like Font Awesome, this link, or click on it. So when you open Font Awesome for the first time, this is how you're going to land on this page. You can click on Start for Free, right? Start for free. You need to supply your email address, then it will send you a kit. Send your kit, right? Let me just give it ictzoid@gmail.com. Send this guy. Okay. You just send a link to verify your address, and then so now I have to check my mail. I have to stop sharing to check my mail. No, let me just leave. Don't worry, it's fine. So yeah, this is the email address we got from Font Awesome. So confirm your email address. So if you are creating this account for the first time, this is the process you're going to go through. Then you can set a password, confirm password. Let me just use this guy and move on. Set and continue. Oh God, I hate this part. Zoid. Zoid, last name. Or set. So if you're setting up an account for the first time, great. This is what you're going to go through this phase, right? So this is my code, right? So if I click this is my kit access code, right? So now my kit, if I click on this kit, this is the kit. If I click on this guy, okay, yeah, kit here, right? So you copy this now, this script, and put it inside your code. So I'll just click on this guy, copy here. I'll come back to my HTML inside the head tag. So I can just add this Font Awesome. Then I'll paste this guy here. So this kit, I've now pasted it here. Then I can come back to icons, click on icons. Now that I've added my kit, then you can search any icon you want. So I'm looking for an email icon. Let's check. Email. So I want the free ones, right? You know, there are some that are premium. Okay, yeah, like we have this, we can make use of this. Let me see the one we're working with. How does it look like? Okay, it's dark. So Oops, not this. We don't need this. We don't need this. Yeah, so this, we'll click on this guy now. Immediately you click on it, this will open up. So this is what you need, right? You just need to click on it and see it's copied. So now that it's copied, I can minimize this, go back to my, oh, let me bring it up. This is what we're working on, split it. So I'll go back, this is a span, right? I can now just paste that code, I click to copy. It's showing here. Now, this is the icon, right? So now to put that border, I can come here and give this guy also a class of impute. Let me call this guy impute field, impute underscore field. So this impute field, copy this guy, come back to CSS. So impute field, that dot impute field, curly bracelet. Right. So let me put the comment here. This is can put code. This is heading, right? So I can call this impute field container, right? So this is the container housing the impute field. This, if you come, this is the container housing. Yeah, this is the container housing the impute field, right? This one. We gave it impute field as a class name. So if I come back here, now I want to style it. I want to basically give it a border of 1 pixel solid. 1 pixel solid. You can now see it has that full border, right? So yeah, full border, right? So I can come back to this guy here now. No, if you notice, we have some 2 annoying borders, right? So I can remove this guy and make this border none. So the inside one, I made the border to be none. It's there, but there's no border, right? So if you notice, if I do this writing, this is where it's going to end, right? Because I gave it a width of 90%. So, all right, we can now give this container, because if you see this email is touching the wall here. So this is the container holding an impute field. We could give this guy a padding of let's say 2 pixels. Is 2 pixels okay? It's not okay. Let's make it 5 pixels. Then 5 pixels is perfect. Now this is no longer touching the wall, right? But now if you notice, see the word email is kind of somehow down, and then this icon is up. So I can give that a display of flex, dflex, display of flex, right? Then you see this is the behavior I was trying, but I want all of them to be vertically aligned. So I can do something like, okay, items, align items to the center. Now you see both of them are now vertically aligned, right? So I could see, give another property, justify content, space between. Now there's some sort of space here, right? Then this, yeah, but if that's too much, let's just leave that out so that it will be a bit close. Okay, but if we come back to what we're designing, there's a border here, right? And then this border is not as dark as ours. So let me correct that. Here do we have border here? So we can specify the color of our border as well, gray color. You can see now it's having a gray color, right? So if maybe I make this guy 2 pixels, you see it's better. See, it's gray, it's no longer dark. But what we want is 1 pixel, right? So let's put this margin. This margin, there's a span holding this guy here. See, there's a span here, right? So I can even use inline CSS here. I would just want to combine everything. So everything we have tried, we have worked with so far. So for the inline CSS, I can now come here and say, okay, style, border right. I want to give the border just to the right side. border right. I know I'm going to have some issues, but let's just try 1 pixel solid gray color. You see, this is the issue I said I was going to have. You see, the border came, but it's not touching the wall, right? Okay, so where's that problem coming from? That problem is coming right here. Where did we do the padding? It's coming here. If I comment this guy, you now see, yeah, still not touching the wall. So what's the best option? What's the best option? Okay, that's fine. We can comment these two guys. Let me comment these two guys and come back and then give the span here. Instead of giving it border, just border right, let me give it a full border. So now it's inside this guy, right? So I can give it a padding, to mind the semicolon to end that, a padding of 5 pixels. Yep, it's in that box now, right? So this guy we gave it, called it email. So this is where we call email. So I can come back here, already has a padding of 5. I'll give it a border, 1 pixel solid gray color. Email. I was expecting to see a border. Okay, yeah, there's border none here. Sorry. So let's remove this guy. Border none. Wait, so you have it here now, right? But it's not well aligned the way I want it to be, because you can see some space, right? So let me see the padding I gave this guy. Yes, 5 pixels. Here's also 5, but why is doing that? So let me make it 6. 6, not bad. 7. But it's not giving me that feel I want. Okay, all right. So his span is giving me that headache. Let me just use a div here instead, because divs are quite easier to control. Let me call this guy and put it inside the div also, right? So this guy here, let me delete this type for the meantime. Div. Right, wait, so this div ends here. Then this other div has this guy. All right, come back to this place. All right, this width. Okay, this guy. All right, let's come back to this place. Input field. What do we call input field? So the thing is, don't worry, once we sort one out, the next part is just to duplicate it. So flex, let me give this guy a gap a bit. So gap could be 5 pixels. Yeah, so that there's this space here, right? Then I can now give so this div here, let me give it a style, a width of 90%. 90%. 90%. So I can come back to this guy and give him a width of 100%. Is here now. So this main div input fields. Let me give it a border now and see what's going to happen. Okay, let me just give it a border and see if it's going to look good. 1 pixel solid gray. Save it. Okay. Okay. Right. Let's say I give this guy now a padding to the left of 5 pixels. Left because this thing is touching this left side. That's why I'm giving a padding to the left. So you see, so it can go inside a bit. So if I increase it to, let's say, 10, yeah, this is this way. So let me remove this other border and see, where did I give this? Where did I give this? Okay, that's the input field. The input, we called it email. Let me give it here a border. Now I see with that border is gone. So this div with this box, this is the div. Let me give it a class. Sorry, not a class. I mean a style. Style border to the right. I want to give it a border in the right side. Right, 1 pixel solid gray. Oh, I still have that behavior. Okay. Let's come back to this place. Let me comment this guy and see. Okay, this guy is working well. So what I will do then is I'll say, okay, border to the top, border top 0 pixels. Sorry, border top none. See, now there's no border at the top, right? So then border bottom none. The border at the bottom is gone. Border right none. None. So now I have this line, right? If that border is too thick again, I can say, okay, border at the left side, I just want you to be 1 pixel solid and have a color of gray. Voila, we have it. Yes, it was back and forth, right? But let me explain what we basically did. So we have this, there's a div, right? There's a major div. Let me collapse it. See, there's a major div that hold 2 divs inside. This is the first div, and then this is the second div. This first div is holding this icon. This second div is the one holding this input field here that we can type inside, right? So the first div holds the image, the envelope icon. The second field holds the text field. So now the major div holding the two of them, we gave it the class of input field. If you check here, this is the class input field. Look at input field container, right? So this is like the container of the input field. So now, because we have 2 divs inside 2 divs, we want them to be side by side. To make them side by side, you have to use this command of flex, display of flex. Now, when we display them flex, you discover that they are not vertically aligned. That's why we use this guy thing. We want some sort of space between this envelope and the email. That's why we use this gap. We want to have this border, the one on top, round it, right? That's why we have this, right? Then padding left, because this image was touching the wall of this guy. That's why we gave it a padding left to push it inside a bit. So basically, that's it for this command here, right? Then for this .email is this input field. This input field itself, we gave it a class here called email. So we gave it a padding 7 pixels to have some sort of space around. Then an outline. This outline, when you click, let me comment it to see. I think I've explained this. I saved this. If I click here to start type, you see this dark thing. I don't want to see it. So that's why we give it an outline called none. Basically, that's what that outline does. If I click now, you're not going to see that again. Then a width of 100% to full that div that was here, right? Then border left, already the border left. This is the border left. 1 pixel solid gray. Then the border that was on top, we removed it. The border that was bottom, we removed it. The border that was at the right, we also removed it to have this, right? So if we come back to it, basically, this is it. I hope that makes sense, right? Right. So, but the next one now is just password, right? And then retype password. These two, you discover that they are basically the same, right? And these two are the same. We can just in fact, the three of them look alike, right? All what we need to do is just we can even copy this guy. This is the parent div here. We can just copy this, paste it here. You see it, let's check. You can see the second one we pasted, right? But what we have here is password. You see the style of this guy changed. So I can come back here now. I want the same declaration, the same style that we have for email. We want to also have it for password. So I can put comma dot password. You see now it has taken it, right? So if I come back to this place, so instead of email as a placeholder, what we have is password. You save this guy. You can see password now. What we had here is an envelope, but in our design, what we have is a padlock. So we can come back to font awesome. Close this guy. Close this. And then in our search bar here, let me type password and see if it's going to give us password. Okay, great. Those padlock, yeah, a lock came up, right? So we can click on it. This opens, and all you need to do is just click on this code to copy it. Right, so come back. Where do we put the envelope? This is where we wrote that code. Replace it with the one we just copied now. So you can see the padlock. Right. So, but if you type this thing, I know you can see the text. When you change this type text to, let's say, type password. Now, if you type, that's what you're going to see. Right. So then the next thing, what we have next is retype password, right? Retype password. It's the same styling as this. We can copy this guy, copy it now, paste it here. So the placeholder, we could change it to retype password. You save it. Now you can see retype password here. Retype password. Then we'll have these two guys now, first name and last name. First name and last name. First name. Meanwhile, there are some spaces here, right? Let's just quickly observe them and then remove. Okay, input field. I can just come to input field here and give something like, okay, imagine to the bottom. I want to give imagine the bottom of, let's say, 10 pixels. See, to just push everything downward. If that's too small, we can increase it to 20 pixels, and then you can have this, right? Then what again? Okay, these two guys here now, right? First name and last name. So once we won't do first name, we can just copy it for last name. So we can come down here again, have another div, another div, and this div is going to contain the names, right? So let's just give it class of name container, for example. So inside, we're going to have two divs. The first div will hold first name, the second div will hold the last name. So div, this is the div holding the first name, right? So here too we have this icon, right? And then the one here holding this is an input tag, almost similar to what we did here, right? Almost similar to this thing here, right? Let's say I just copy that already and paste it here. I come back to our code, this is it. So all what we need to do is just come here, give this guy a class, and call this guy, sorry, instead of a style, I mean a style display of flex. Now see both of them side by side, flex. But now see the padlock is on top, the field is down, right? So to bring it downward, we can, to align it, that's where we have these align items to the center. You now see both of them are now well positioned, right? Great. So impute field, okay, now so we can give this guy semicolon a border also, a border of 1 pixel solid gray color. You can see it, right? Then we can give this padlock is pressing, and what we need is not even a padlock, but let's just arrange that a bit. So we can give this div a class, sorry, not a class, a style. Basically want to give it padding to the left side, of let's say 5 pixels. See, it's no longer pressing, right? We can give it also to the right, padding to the right side of, let's say, another 5 pixels. You can see it's no longer pressing. If it's too small, we can make this 10, right? 10 is okay. Let's just do it. Maybe 7 is okay. 7 here too. I could have this now, but what we need is not a padlock, right? And then the text type, this is the placeholder. This is first name. Let's go back to that image. First name, right? First name. So this is type of text, not type of password. So we don't need this. We can give it 50%, but we don't need to even give this width for now. Let me save this guy. Okay. So this for first name, right? So there are 2 divs, right? The last div is holding the input tag here. The first div on top, that this div is holding the padlock. But what we need is not a padlock, is a user icon. Let's check for, let's search here for user. Good, I think this is what we're looking for. This guy. No, not multiple guys. This is the guy we're looking for, user. Pick it, come back and replace with this one here. Paste it, user, right? So let's check. You can see it now. First name. This first name. So we need the last name. So mind you, this is the same thing, right? That's what I mean is this field is the same as this one. So we have written this field. We can just copy it and paste it down. This is the field we have written, this one here. So we could just copy this guy, copy it, and paste it down here. Now you see 2 of them. The last one, this is last name. Written it in last name, the same image icon, right? Great. So, but they are supposed to be side by side, right? So that's where the concept of flex come into play. This is the first div, this is the second div, right? This is the first div. 2 of them are inside this div. Let me collapse it. You see all of them here. See, the first one is here. That's the first name is here. The second name is here. 2 of them are inside this place, right? So now it means we want to flex the 2 of them, and 2 of them are inside this class called first name container. So I can copy first name container, come here, and then maybe I could just give it, this is the div containing the first and last name, right? So name container, put a dot. So I could now say, okay, display of flex. So immediately see two of them have now positioned side by side. But see, they're touching each other here, right? So I need a space. I can now say gap of 5 pixels. Let's see. You can see the 5 pixels too small. Can increase it to 15 pixels. So you have the gap here. Now, if that's still too small, you can always increase this number 20 pixels. You can see the gap is now here. So this is the gap here. That's what we have here now. So the next thing is these two guys, male and female. Male and female. Let me see, what's the time? Oh, it's already past me. All right, male and female. So we can come back to this place. This is the div that was containing the names. So we can come back here and have another div, right? So this div, this is checkbox, right? So we could have all right, we would have input. It's type of text, right? You change this. It's not what we need. It's not, but it's text box. I'm going to make one deliberate error. Then so you understand. Then we're going to have label. I'll explain it so you understand what I mean. So this is the label, right? So if I come to what we have, see this is male, right? This is male. So we have done for male. We have male, and where is it? Male and female. So I can just quickly copy this guy. I can copy this guy. Copy this guy, paste it, save it. Come back, let's see. This is the other one, supposed to be female. Female. This is female, right? So let me just wrap each of these guys inside it, put it inside a box, right? So I call this guy, I can put it inside a box called a div. Call this guy, cut it, put it inside a box called a div. So div is a block element. That's why you see two of them. See if I give this a background, a width, or let me just give it a background color. See, it spans to the end. Background color of just this. You see, it spans to the end because it's a block element. If you're reading that material on HTML I shared with you guys, I think I wrote about block and inline elements there as well, right? So, but we want them to be side by side, right? So that's where anytime you want a div to be positioned side by side, that's where you now make use of the concept of flex to basically help you position an item. You can see, right? Two of them positioned side by side. Now, but you notice that, see, they are not well aligned. I can come here and now say, okay, align items to the center. All right. Okay, but still not giving me the vibes I want. Don't want to fix that. Then we can put a space in between them using the gap, right? Gap of, let's say, 20 pixels. You can see the gap 20 pixels. But this is touching this one, right? I can give this guy a margin to the top of let's say 20 pixels. Let's see. Now you can see it has now pushed this one down to give this margin to the top of 20 pixels. Oh, sorry, I made a mistake. This is not supposed to be a checkbox. This is a radio button. This is a radio. It's type of radio, right? This. So now a radio buttons, basically a radio buttons allows you to check only one item at a time. But see, I'm able to check two here. That was a mistake I was telling you guys I was going to make, right? So to correct that behavior, you need this attribute called name. And the name here, we can call this, let's give it, you can give it any name, but two of them must be the same. Here is gender, right? So you see this same name you gave this input, you're supposed to give this one too. Name. So once two of them are having the same name, they now know that, oh, both of us were referring to the same person. So if I check male, I come to click here, and I see it unchecked the male. If I now that female is checked, if I come back here and I check male, it's going to uncheck this guy, right? So basically that's how radio buttons work. Now, if you notice another thing, if I click on the name itself, it's just highlighted, it's not checking. But if I want this to be, when I click on this name, this button should be highlighted. I can come here and give this guy an ID and call it, this is male, right? So inside this label 4, this 4 here, right? I can now call the male. Now I did this for the male. See, if I click on this name, male, you see the box is checked. But see, if I click on this female, the box is not checked because I've not done that, right? So I can come back here as well, put an ID. Let me call it female. Female, label 4, female. This ID name must be the same as what you have in this 4 attribute. So if I click on this female now, you see the box is checked here. So I don't even need, my user can click here or click on the name. It will still work. This is what refers to as user friendliness, right? You are now forcing your user to just click here before this box will check. But if you can click on the name, the box is still checked, right? Well, I think that was it for that part. So the next is this one now. Select the country. This is like a drop down, right? Good. So let's also work on that. So we can put another div here. Let's put another div here. Oh, another div here. This is a div, and for this guy, there's the type of input we are going to be making use of here is called select, right? So we can have select and then name, blah blah blah. Let's just pause that part. Name. Select has options, right? So this is like you giving the options. Then maybe this is the first option we have here is or select the country, right? So inside this place, I can have something like select a country. This select the country. So if I come here, you can see this drop down. See, I select the country. So I can have options. Let me have options, right? Value, and then I could do something like okay, maybe USA. This is an option to be picked from. Another option, another option could have, maybe I can have Canada here. I can have another option. I can have UK, for example, right? So see, if I click on this drop down, see all those countries. I can pick from there. Right? So basically, this is what does that, this select, right? So let's tie this guy now. Meanwhile, let's tie this guy. Select, right? So come, let me see how it's looking. It spans to the end, right? So let me call the attribute. Oh, let me call the tag name select. We'll call it, let me open it up so we'll be seeing what we're doing. We can see, okay, select. Let me give it a width of 100%. 100% means run to the end, right? You can see 100%. You see it's too close together, right? Let me refresh this guy. It's too close together. We can now give it a padding of 5 pixels. You can see this, right? 5 pixels. You can now see how it's panning. All right, let's give it a margin to the top of, let's say, 20 pixels. You now have this piece and then this guy. So there's that outline. We can, if we don't like the outline, we can also do outline none. We don't want that outline. You see now, this box is no longer showing us that annoying outline. See, if I comment this guy out and I click, you can see this. So this outline of none takes that away. See, no longer we're having that. cannot pick any country you want. Right, so what we have next, so we now have these two. This is a checkbox, right? These ones are checkboxes. So I can come down here and have a div. Have a div here. Okay, in this div I can have input type text. I don't want text, I want a checkbox. And then can put a label for, remember what for means, right? Let's say this is agree to terms and conditions. So let me just give an ID and say, call this terms underscore conditions. This same name here, it has to be the same when you come to this place, right? Terms and conditions. So inside the label, this is where I now write, I agree to, I agree with terms, and conditions, right? So then the next one, let me just copy this guy straight away, copy it, paste it. It's the same checkbox, but for this one, receive newsletter. Let me call this newsletter. Copy this guy, paste this here. So the message is, I agree to receive the newsletter. Save this guy. And then finally, what we have is a button. And inside the button, we have register. Register, right? Okay. So this div now I can also give it a class, sorry, not a class. I can give it a sky, and then I give it a margin to the top of 20 pixels, right? So that I can have some space. So let me do the same for the one up here. Copy this guy, paste it here. If I check, now you can see I agree here, and then I agree to receive newsletter here. Then finally, our button. This is our button. You can come back to CSS here and then call the button. Give it a width. Let me be showing you what's happening. Give it a width of 100%. We have it there. You can give it a padding of 7 pixels. You have it there. If that is too much, you can always reduce it. Great. All right, then let's push it down a bit. You can give it a margin top of, let's try 15 pixels. 15 pixels. Yep. Then this has a background color of some sort of yellow, right? Background color, let me see, yellow. This is too yellowish. We can actually pick the original color, right? Let me just pick it and save ourselves distress. Color picker. Pick this color for me. See, it's F6. Let me just type it here. Say that that color is hash F6 BA1B. Save it. Thank you. All right, let's see what we have. So this is what we have. So we can remove that border. No, so that's gone. We can increase our padding to 7. So this is just this. Oh, there's this color at the top here, right? That's not a big deal. So let me open this guy full. Oh, this is it. Right? Let me put that top thing right. So is this major container? Where's the main container? Main container. Yeah, this is a container, right? This box is the container, right? So we can give it a border at the top. Border top. This is the color of the border. Let's give it the width of that border, right? Let's see, that border should be 5 pixels. And solid. You can see it here, right? Let me give it a margin at the top. Margin top of 20 pixels. All right, so this is our design. Hello guys, I see there.
Yeah, we are here.
So
Yes,
basically,
sir.
I think we are done with the
We're
HTML
here.
CSS part.
Yes.
Right? Right?
Yeah, waiting for the yes.
Okay, I think so. This is just the basic design. All right, so let's see the JS. So basically, what I want us to do with the JS is, let's say if somebody clicks this button, yeah, want to put all those functionalities to the buttons, right? So for this button first, let's give it an ID. Let's just call it BTN. This stands for button, right? BTN, which stands for button. Then, because of time, we'll just handle some of those key. Okay, okay. We'll handle if somebody submit this form without filling 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's throw an error. At least the person should fill all this, right? We can actually handle for all of this, but I'm sure by the time we do for 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, you understand the logic. And again, I also want us to try this functionality. Whatever the person types here should be the same with what he types here. If not, when submitting, we should also throw an error that, oh, password did not match or something, right? Okay, so let's try that out. So first, we gave the button an ID, right, called BTN. So we can come to this place, JS now. We have already connected our JS and call, let's give it const BTN, right? That's document.get element by ID. And the name of that ID is BTN, right? To be sure, we got that. Remember, I told you console is going to be your best friend. So the only way I can be sure I've actually picked this thing with my JavaScript is to console log it. So I can do console.log BTN. That's this variable. Now I'm console logging this variable here. So let me check my console here. Inspect. Go to my console. Yes, you can see the button showing in my console. It means actually my JavaScript is working and I've gotten hold of that button, right? So now that I have that button, I can put an event to that button. I can put something like a btn.add event listener. So basically what I'm listening to is a click event, a click, right? So when you click that button, I want to run a function, right? So this is the function name, handle submit, right? Coil, then you put your curly bracelet, enter here, right? So okay, now let me put a basic alert button. This is just a check, right? Button click. To be sure this my event handler is working. Sorry. Close this. So basically what I did here is I've called this button, I've added an event listener click. When you click this button, run this function. And what this function does is it just throws this alert that button is clicked. So let's click on the button and see we click, you can see button click. It means that event is working, right? Great. So now we have that button. So okay, let's let's fetch the value here, right? If somebody puts a value there, let's fetch it. So how are we going to fetch that value? Okay, so now when somebody click that button, let's fetch this value. Let's call it const. Let's just call it const email. We want to call that space email, right? So we can come back to this field. Where's that email field? Email field. Yes, this email field. Email field. Let's give it an ID as well. An ID called email, right? So now I'm going to pick that button with this ID of email. I can come back here, say document dot get element by ID. What's the name of the ID is email, right? So let me do something like, okay, console dot log email. I save it. So if I click on this thing now, and let me check my console, you can see this email here, right? So now to get hold of the value, whatever the user is going to type here, right? I can come to this place. Oh, okay, and just put an attribute called value there. Keep it empty. Just this value, right? So now, okay, let me come back to JS. So if somebody, there I can put dot value here. Dot value. All right, let me print this. Let's try, instead of console logging, okay, let me just alert this. Alert email. So basically what I want to do now is, what we're checking is if somebody click on this button, just prompt, throw that alert, the email the person fixed here. So let's try. Let me see abc@gmail.com. So if I click submit, what I'm expecting is it should pump out this email address. Let's see if that works. Great, it worked. You can see it here, abc@gmail.com. It means actually with this command, we are now fetching the input the user is the user imputed here. Look at document.get elements by ID. The ID name is email.value. So we are fetching that value, right? So now we have gotten hold of this guy. So we are basically going to do the same. We are basically going to do the same for password. This is password, right? And then we'll do the same for repeat underscore password. So this field I'm saying repeat underscore password. So here the ID name, can go back and give that field password. Yeah, this is a password field, right? Can give it an ID called password. Then we'll give this other input, this retype password now. We're giving it an ID called repeat underscore password, right? So back to our JS. Back to our JS. So this is ID here is password, and then this ID is the same as this variable name, the repeat password. All right, so let's try to check it. Let's alert password. So if we click submit, pump out the password. So let me type, okay, let me hit it. This is what I typed, 1 2 3 4 5. Great, right? So let's check if repeat password is also working. Paste. So I'm typing 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 0. So submit. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 9 0 is right there. Great. So it means we now have access to these two guys. So if I want to check, I want to now check. Okay, let's go do the same for the first and last name quickly. First, let me just, okay, let me just copy these two guys and paste them and change this one to first name change this one to last name. So I want to give this guy first name as the ID. So if I come back here, where did I have the first name field? First name field should be here. First name. This is first name. So I can now put ID, first name, right? So this other one, let me give it an ID called last name. Last name. So I'll go back here. Last name, where are you? Last name. Here's last name. First name. Let me open this. Yeah, last name is here. So ID, last name. I save it. All right. So let's check if these two guys are also working. So I can do alert what? First name. Okay, so let me type a name here. Sam. You can see Sam. Let me check if last name is working. Last name, save. Type Z, submit. When? Okay, I didn't save. I type Z. Yes, you can see Z is there. So now we have access to all of this. You can do the same for this part, right? Okay, so now next thing is we want to check if these two input are the same, right? So that's where our if now comes into play. If our condition, we'll put the condition and then curly bracelet, right? So the condition is if password is not equal to this guy. So if password, this is not equal to, if password is not equal to repeat password, what should happen? Alert password do not, could do some password do not match. Password do not match, right? So let me type here now. Did I save this guy? Save. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here I'm now typing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I submit. Did I save this? Okay. Okay. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, you see, password do not match. Because see, I typed 1, 2, 3 here, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I can actually change this guy from, let me just change it to type password. So you actually see type text. So you can actually see the text, right? Well, I think you understand what this type password does now. Type text. Okay. So that if I type 1, 2, 3, 4, you can also see it now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You can see it also. I hit submit. See password do not match. So that's what is basically happening here. I checked it using the if condition. Right? Password do not match, right? So again, so if a user did not submit, we want to also check if maybe a user did not submit anything and you want to submit, like he did not fill any information and then the person wants to submit. We could basically do a basic command like using the if still, right? We'll do if for example, if email is equal to empty, right? That's empty here simply means the person did not submit anything. If email is equal to, that's comparison now, equal to empty, that's if email field is empty or or where's my pipe again? Yeah. Or this is or. That's if email field is empty or password is empty or repeat password is empty or first name is empty. But anyway, let's just use this guy and handle password. Let's use this one to handle email, first name and last name. And this guy and last name is this is equal to empty. So this is two of this for comparison. That's if these two guys are empty, right? Then you should alert. That's if these two guys, this 1, 2, 3 are empty. You can throw something like alert, or let me write this in caps. All fields are required. So if I submit, all fields are required because I didn't fill anything. So if I fill just this place and then put this one without fixing these other ones, I submit, all fields are required, right? And then it's telling me password do not match. Again, right? So this if, right? Else. So else, that's if all the informations are filled, right? Command X, I can now check inside. That's the user have supplied all the fields. Then I want to check, okay, let me even check if password and this was also submitted here. This guy. If this is equal to empty or repeat password is equal to empty. So basically I'm checking if password is empty or first name value is empty or last name is empty or password is empty or repeat password is empty. Now prompt alert all fields are required, right? You can actually, wow, okay. Yeah, anyway, let's just finish the functionalities and then we'll still make it look a bit beautiful. So now see if I try to submit this, it's telling me that all fields are required. See, but what if, okay, now I've submitted, maybe I've written my my sam@gmail.com, then I've written a password 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I now type 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 here. Now see first name, Zoid, last name, Zedig. So at this point, I've submitted all the fields, but see these two did not match. So let me hit password do not match. So in as much as this did not run, because all of these were submitted, else now run. Inside else, and I did the check is password. If password is not equal to this guy, prompt password do not match. That's why I have this password do not match here now, right? But if this pass, I can now add an else here. That's else. You can do something like alert, registration was successful. Then I save this guy. Let's try again. abc@gmail.com. Password 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let me make it match now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. First name, sorry. Last name, Sadiq. So if I submit, I didn't save this. Okay, and I'll see. If it's empty, all fields are required. If we can even go keep this here, right? Okay, let's try this again. abc@gmail.com. Password 12345. Confirm it 12345. Name ABC. Last name CDF. Submit. Registration was successful because password matched and then all the fields were submitted. So instead of doing this prompt, we can even have, I can even have something on top here after the form. Sorry, before this email, where did we write that email? Input field, email. Yes, I can have an empty div here. Div. Let me give it a class. What's class? Let me give it a style margin to the top of just 10 pixels. Right, there's a div here. This is a div, but there's nothing inside. I want to be writing inside dynamically. Then I can give it an ID of error, right? So now let me catch this div in my JavaScript. I can now call this const error is equal to document.getElement by ID. The ID name is error, and then yeah, that's the ID name. That's just the div I want, right? So this div now. So if this thing, instead of alerting, I can say, okay, sorry, I can say, okay, error dot inner text, error dot inner text, or can even write it. Let me put error dot yeah, let's just do inner HTML. Okay, inner HTML equal to, that's I want to write a p tag inside now. I want to send a p tag, and then this p tag I can even give it is, don't worry, let's send it first. Let's make it work first. P tag, and then this p tag I want to say, okay, all fields are required. Save this guy. Let me save now. You can see it. All fields are required. Try submitting the form without anything. You can see this p tag. So now we can even style it a bit properly, right? We can give it a style. Sorry, a style equal. Can give it color. That's color of the text. Can make it red. We can give it a font size of 20 pixels. We can do text align to the center. Right, let me come back to this place. We gave this guy imagine top. Let's just give it matching. So the first value is for top and bottom. The next value is going to be left and right, 0 pixels. Right. Okay. Fine. Right now, let's try to submit this guy. Save this. Submit. You see, all fields are required. We now have this. We can even style this thing further again. We can give this guy a border of 1 pixel solid red. So let me try to submit it. See, all fields are required. You can now see this red. Can give it a lot of style. Can give it background shadow, a lot of things, right? So, but basically now we are injecting a HTML file inside the DOM when these fields are not, see, all fields are required. So this same thing, right? We can do the same here. Let me copy this. Copy. When the password did not match, I'll paste it here. When the password did not match, I'll now say, okay, here, password did not, say did not match. Right, so maybe if I come here, okay, let me fill this. I have abc@gmail.com. Then I have 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 here. I have name to be ABC, first name, last name to be CDF, and then I submit. Okay, something went wrong. Okay, yeah, password did not match. So if password did not match, yeah, password did not match. So you can see abc@gmail.com, password 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, last name ABC, first name DEF. Then I submit. See, password did not match. I have a question. Hi. I think basically now we have used the 3 technologies. We use HTML and CSS to design this. Is this not looking beautiful? This beautiful registration form. And then we've been able to use JavaScript to handle the form field, right? We can actually do a whole lot with that. Because it's almost 10 p.m. already. All right. Okay, so I think I can now attend to your questions.